Shine with Kendell Lenice. Real talk for real people. Let's shine together.
All right, welcome to Shine with Kendell Lenice. I am your host, Kendell Lenice. Allow me to introduce myself to you just a little bit further. I am a certified transformational life coach, speaker, and author, as well as a certified meditation practitioner and content creator. I'm so glad that you decided to join me on my life podcast. On this podcast, I will educate, elevate, and entertain you with various topics. We will do live coaching, and I will hopefully give you a different perspective on some of your favorite topics and introduce you to new ones. I'm not sure how you stumbled upon this podcast. I'm just so glad you did. Before we get started, do me a favor and subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening and rate if you are able to. Thank you so much once again for tuning in, and now on to this week's show. Today's show is sponsored by 617 Lip Love Organic Lip Moisturizer Balm by Kendell Lenice. Get yours today at leniceboutique.com. This product is for men and women, and its signature flavor, eucalyptus mint. It's the bomb, y'all. Get it today at leniceboutique.com. Protect your lips, heal your lips at all costs. 617 Lip Love Organic Lip Moisturizer Balm. Get yours today at leniceboutique.com. Support Black businesses, support women-owned businesses. leniceboutique.com. Hey everybody, I am back. Welcome to Shine with Kendell Lenice. If you thought that I forgot about you, I didn't. I took a few weeks off for some self-care and a whole lot more, which I'll talk about with you today. I have so many different projects going on, but I'm never, ever going to forget about Shine with Kendell Lenice, all of you amazing supporters. I love podcasts, and as I'm editing my personal journey of peace journal, and workbook that will be out this month. Today is April 1st, and my workbook will be out on Amazon in about 2 weeks. And I was just, editing to make sure there are no mistakes, no issues, everything is right so it can be published to you all. So I'm working with an amazing publishing company, Win Publications. But that's not what we're talking about today. There's so much to unpack today. But before we get started, let me start with this week's life note as always. All right, it's time for this week's life note. I'm not sure if you heard that. Wait a minute, see what's going on here. All right, I'm not sure what's going on, but let's start with this week's life note. I don't know if all my little equipment is a little rusty today, but that's all right. I'm sorry if you hear some background noises. I'm trying to figure out what's going on right now. All right, I'm not even going to worry about that. The show must go on. So this week's life note, I'm sorry you didn't get to hear the little. All right, it's time for this week's life note. All right, there we are. I was like, I'm going to get this thing going. I'm not sure what's going on, but that's all right. This is a live podcast. So if this is your first time tuning in, I'm sorry about that. To all my loyal listeners, thank you for coming back. And I'm sorry about that as well. I'm not sure how you stumbled upon this podcast. I'm just so glad you did. Please rate, subscribe, and leave a comment and tell a friend about this podcast. Thank you so much for continuously supporting this podcast and all that I do under my name, Kendell Lenice, the Kendell Lenice brand. All right. So this week's life note is you never know what God is going to throw your way. And then it's a two-parter. You never know what God is going to save you from. that is this week's life note. All right, y'all. So since I spoke to you last, I was diagnosed with colon cancer, carcinoma of the descending colon, right? Yes. I don't even know where to start. I shared my testimony on YouTube, and I want to share it personally with you all. So on, I'm trying to think of even where to start. Okay, so I'll be 50 June 2021. Yay! So I was so excited and still am about turning the big 50. Of course, I don't have any reservations because there's another choice that I don't want. So getting older gracefully, I'm all for that. So I'll go to my doctor's appointment, my annual checkup, as I do faithfully. I care about my health. I watch what I put in my body. I exercise. I just started lifting weights. Probably in December of 2020, just getting, myself right. But I've been a pescatarian for years, many years. I take my vitamins. I make sure I do everything that I'm supposed to do as far as eating and the intake and watch what I have, all of that. Every time I go to the hospital, my doctor's office, my doctors say I'm completely healthy, right? I'm up on my mammograms. I'm up on my blood work. I'm up on my EKGs and because after a certain age, you have to get EKGs when you do your yearly checkups. Do all of that. Don't miss a beat. Don't play no games, right? So I go to my yearly checkup, and my doctor's like, okay, well, let me give you your paperwork for your colonoscopy because you're going to be 50, in 6 months or so. So let's make sure you get done. No rush, but you got to get them, when you turn 50. Because had I gone to her after 50, which would have fallen in line with my annual checkup, then I would have been late to the party getting the colonoscopy because I would have been like 6 months into 50. So I get my paperwork, no shock there. Okay, schedule your appointment for your colonoscopy. Okay, did that, prepared. As anyone knows, for a colonoscopy, you have to drink all of this stuff to kind of empty out your whole bowel situation to make sure they can see clearly what they need to see clearly. So did all of that, the preparation for that, went in, had one of my girlfriends take me because they put you under a twilight anesthesia state, so you can't drive afterwards. So one of my girlfriends, I was like, she had just had one, so she was like, I'll definitely take you. So she took me, have the, get situated and everything, have the colonoscopy in the recovery room, and the doctor comes back and says, I saw something, and I was like, because first he was saying, okay, well, where's her friend? Someone said, oh, she's out in the car. She just went around the corner. She's coming back. And he was like, okay. So then I heard my friend's voice, came back to the recovery room. And then that's when he begins to speak. So she's standing there, still laying down on the hospital bed. And he says, I saw something and it doesn't look good. And I was like, are you kidding me? He said, I wish I was. He saw a cancerous part in my colon and it looked malignant, meaning cancerous. Benign means you don't have anything to worry about. So I said, so what? And I'm sitting there shocked. My girlfriend's standing there shocked. And she's like, okay, wasn't expecting that. And I'm sitting here, just looking blank faced, not going off, not crying, not just kind of just still in that moment. And he's like, yes. So what happens? You're going to have surgery. I'm like, what? Now, this is March 5th, y'all. So you're going to have surgery. Okay. And he's going to have to take out the cancerous part and then sew your colon back together. And this is all, first I'm thinking I'm getting a colonoscopy. Now I'm told that I'm going to have to get surgery to remove the cancer. And of course, when you hear cancer, I'm like, and I couldn't even say the word. I was just like the C word, malignant. I was saying everything but cancer because I just could not. I was very clear on what the doctor said, but I just could not give that word power out of fear, worry, concern, and that powerful C word. So I just really couldn't even say it. And so I had to call, got in the car, called my husband, called my kids. And they're like, what now? Like, they're so confused because, they knew I was getting a colonoscopy. Like, we weren't even thinking. Like, that really, honestly, was not on my radar. Truly was not on my radar. I wasn't even thinking about it. So when he told me that, I was just like, okay. So when I get in the car, he gives me this paper and call this surgeon, who later I find out, which I'll tell you about, is an award-winning surgeon, one of the best in the country to do these type of procedures. I had no idea. So I called the office. He was in a surgery, so the staff was amazing. So they said he would call me back, and he honored his word. He called me back, and by that time I was home. Had it on speakerphone. My daughter was listening. And he was like, okay, so this is what we have to do, kind of repeating what the former doctor said. This is what we have to do. And I'm like, huh? He's like, I'm going on vacation next week. This was a Friday. So he was like, I'm going on vacation all next week, but Margarita at my office will, help you and set up everything, right? So talked to Margarita that Friday, on that Friday, she sent me this long email on all the stuff that I would have to do. In scheduling, my doctor told me, okay, we moved some stuff around. While he was on the phone, he was like, your surgery is going to be March 18th. You come into my office that Monday before, and blah 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 blah. And he's like, because I know you. The doctor who did the colonoscopy, I know we see the images there. I have the images still. See the images that he sent, and it shows, but then you'll have to get a CT scan, and then I want to see it for myself. That's why you come in that Monday before your surgery. So I'm like, all of this stuff, my head is spinning, and then Margarita sends me this email with all of these instructions, very detailed, very precise, and very professionally laid out. But it was so overwhelming because one minute I'm thinking I'm just fine. Next minute I find out that I'm walking around with cancer in my body. And now I have to get this emergency surgery. And now I have to do all of this prep work to get this stuff done. It was a whirlwind of a 2-week period. Just a whirlwind. And like I'm telling you, it's only April 1st right now as I'm recording this. So that week before the surgery, that Monday, I remember I had to get my blood work and had an amazing conversation with the phlebotomist. And we were talking, and she was just like, you were a light. I'm just so glad you came in today. And I was like, this lady has no idea that I'm coming and getting this blood work to get a procedure because I got cancer and didn't even know it, So, and people were like, you're still... well, let me just back up. So that Friday when I went and found out I had cancer, which is still crazy to say, I had an interview because I was in a magazine. So this was their second issue of a brand new magazine out of Baltimore, Maryland. And my daughter was like, you still going to sit down virtually and do that? And I was like, yeah. So 2 hours after I got the diagnosis, I'm doing this virtual show. And at the end, I'm just like, y'all pray for me because I'm, dealing with a lot. They had no clue until I shared my story which was fairly recent. I just shared my story last week to the world, as again, I said, on YouTube. But so fast forward back to that week, I had the phlebotomist draw my blood, and then that Wednesday, I had to go to my doctor, even though I just had a checkup, to get another checkup, series of EKGs to make sure everything was good. Had a good conversation with my doctor, who was Indian, and I'll tell you why I'm saying that now. So had a conversation with my doctor first on the phone, and she was just like, Kendell, I'm just so, I'm so sorry. And I was like, my main thing to anybody was like, I just want to live. And she said, you will. And I told her on the phone what it was. And then, when I went to go see her, and she just was very compassionate and very warm. And I've been going there for 26 years, something like that. And just very warm. And I was like, I just want to live. And she's like, you will. And then I began to start hearing all of these people, even the one who did my colonoscopy, my doctor just started telling me how amazing this surgeon was that I had. And my doctor said, if it was me or my family, this is who I would choose. And then I just started, researching. My daughter told my sister, and she was researching a doctor, and then we were all, and it was just so many different things that connected us, which you can find out about my YouTube, just in case people watch both. I don't want to be so repetitive, but just so many things. And I don't know if you believe in signs, but just an example that I had the surgery on March 18th, and March 18th is my little sister's birthday, who turned 33, right? March 18th. My doctor had been doing the surgery for 33 years. He did it. He went to school. Some of his schooling was in Buffalo, New York. I was born in Buffalo, New York. So it was just so many different connections, if you will. And I could just go on and on. There were so many different ones. And that we knew like that was the surgeon before we even knew what a big deal this person was. So then that Friday before my surgery, I had to get my CT scan, and, so many different things were happening with that. And they had to change where I had to get the CT scan because I didn't get it from the original place. And then the lady there was so warm and so kind and just so helpful and walked me through that. And the CT with the CAT scan, I had to prepare for that and drink this stuff. So it was just a lot of different things that went into preparation, not even just the appointments, but preparation for the appointments. It was just overwhelming. And then, people calling me, doctors calling me, and you got to do this and you got to do that. And then ordering these meds from this place and doing this and preparing and taking antibiotics and painkillers before the surgery, and then washing up with the right soap before the surgery a couple of days before. And then I fasted like 3 days before the surgery and trying to do that. It was just a lot. And, if I just explain little by little by little, I don't want to bore you all, but it was a lot to prepare for this type of surgery. As I was in it, and then as I look back, it was a lot of different things, but I followed Margarita's instructions. She was a great help, and I followed the email. And, every time that someone told me to do something, I made sure that I followed it to the T, because I didn't want no issues or problems, and I didn't want to create a mess, quote unquote, bigger than it already was. So that Monday, the week of my surgery, I go see the surgeon, and hopefully by this time I told a couple of people, but I told more people I was getting surgery. They had no idea why, and only a select few on why I was getting surgery, because it all happened so fast, and I was allowing the Spirit to lead me to who I wanted to tell during this time. And some people I would have told, I didn't. Some people I didn't tell, I probably wouldn't have. So it was just really, I was allowing it to be organic and allowing the Spirit again to move through me during this time. So the week of the surgery, go see the surgeon, and then I tell him, look, I just want to live. I got a birthday coming up. My daughter's birthday's coming up. My youngest daughter's having her graduation photos taken, graduating from college. Her college graduation is coming up. I'm just like, I want to live. Please take care of me. And he was like, I will. And he's like, you're not going to mess up. He said something like, you're not going to mess up my track record. Like, nobody needs blood transfusions. People come out of this. The country's rate in recovery is this amount, but mine is cut in half. Most stay in the hospital 6 or 7 days. You stay in 3 or 4 days. Recovery is 3 weeks. And he was just telling me, my husband was there, and he was just really, confident, not cocky, but confident that he can do this. And he was really like a warm, nice man, because those type of things are important to me, and representation is important to me. Although this was a white man, who was just amazing at what he did, and just as kind and nice, but confident, and tell you like it is. And those are the kind of people that you want. But I was concerned about, the staff, because in the climate we're in, to be honest, I was like, certain representation matters. Like, does he have women in his office? Does he have women of color in his office? Does he have black women in his office, black people? And his staff was all women who ran that office, as well as, I'm not sure what, the other nationalities were, but they were all women of color. So, that kind of eased me, because in this climate, you don't know who you're dealing with, and you're there helpless on the table. So certain things matter to me. Certain things are important to me, Please drop a comment and let me know if certain things like that are important to you, because those type of things matter, especially when we know the history of Black women and being strong, and the disparages in healthcare that Black women get when Black women say they're in pain or they're hurt, and they're ignored, thinking that they're this mythical, strong Black woman. We heard Serena Williams talk about it, Beyonce talk about it, and them almost losing their lives in childbirth. So those things are real. Like, you can look that up and see that Black women often are ignored in the hospital. So those type of things matter to me, because this is a crazy climate that we're in. And, when we had the presidency, the previous one, where things were happening and people were influenced and all of that. So that meant something to me. So even when I went to the office and saw, that kind of helped me out a lot, believe it or not. But just everything combined, the knowledge of the doctor and the kindness of this doctor, and the looking me in the eyes and I'm looking him in the eyes, and really just, connecting in that way, those type of things matter. Yes, it matters that you're an expert in your field and you've been doing this 33 years and you're wonderful and you're amazing. And everybody that mentioned your name, that I mentioned or just mentioned your name, spoke highly of you, not just saying, oh, he's cool, he's a good doctor. Like, they went above and beyond to speak about this doctor. So I felt like I was in good hands, but all of those things mattered. So he couldn't see what he needed to see that Monday. So I had to go back to him the day before the surgery as well. And got some more reassurance. And then that next day, that Thursday, the 18th, I had my surgery, and I had carcinoma of the descending colon. Originally, they thought it was a sigmoid operation, which meant that the place in my colon, it was a little lower, but once they saw, it was a little higher, so it kind of changed it. And I know people were like, what stage was it? I didn't know. I didn't care. I didn't ask that question, because to me, I would have still had to get the surgery. The outcome was still the same. The news was still the same. It didn't matter. And I didn't want to be under freaked out or over freaked out hearing the stage. That didn't matter. And I remember my mom kept saying, well, what is the stage? I was like, I don't know. I really don't care. You don't know? You don't care? No, I don't, because it's not going to change what needs to be done in this situation. And so after the surgery, I'm praying. This is just a lot, y'all. So leading up to the surgery, I told you I had to take all of the, the antibiotics and the painkillers prior to, like, the night before and that night. And I had to bathe in this medical soap the day before and the morning of the surgery and all of that. So my husband's driving me to the surgery. Let me just say this. God is freaking amazing. Can you say God is freaking amazing? Because he is. So I find out the week before my surgery. Well, first I was happy that my doctor was all rested up and had a vacation. He was ready to come and do the surgery. But the week before my surgery, that's when they opened it up in the state of Maryland, where I am, to have visitors in the hospital due to COVID. Like, come on now, won't he do it? So if I had the surgery prior to that, y'all, I would have been in the hospital by myself. Not only did my husband get a chance to visit, he got a chance to be in my room and stay in my room. And if it were a week or 2 or 3 or a month or 2 months before, I would have been in that hospital by myself. So that's just already an act of God. And also, did I tell y'all that my surgeon is retiring next year? So if it happened then, I wouldn't even have this same amazing surgeon that I had. So I'm going to take a quick break and play my song that I wrote. It's my love letter to God. It's You, sung beautifully by Queen P. So I'm just going to take a quick break And I'm going to come back after the song and tell you what happened on surgery day and beyond. Be right back.
The one who knows my heart, I knew it from the start. When I'm lost, you're my tour guide, the only thing that's right. My candle in the dark, the one who lights the spark. You never keep the score, that's why I wanna praise you more. Why I stand here and say, with you, I'm not alone. With you, I have a home. When I'm hurt, you stop the pain. You love me through the rain. It's you who brings the sun. For me, you are the You're the reason I go on. You're the one who keeps me strong. You hold my hand when I am scared. It's you. Oh, it's you. It's you who makes me calm. You wrap me safely in your arms. It's you who unlocks my door. That's why I wanna praise you more. It's you. I stand here and say, with you, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. With you, I have a home. With you, I have a home. When I'm hurt, you stop the pain. Love me through the rain. Oh, it's you who brings the sun. You bring the sun. For me, you are the That's why I bring to you this song, to tell the world about my love that you keep me safe. I wanna glorify your name. One thing I know for sure, it's you. With you, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. With you, I have a home. When I'm hurt, you stop the pain. You love me through the rain. It's you, Lord, it's you who brings the sun. And you're shining down. It's you who I adore. That's why I praise you more. It's you. Thank you, God.
All right, welcome back. And did you hear the end of that song? The person that said, "Thank you, God." That was me. So that's It's You, sung beautifully by Queen P, written by moi, yours truly, Kendell Lenice. So you can stream that anywhere. So go ahead and get your entire life and stream that. It's You, written by Kendell Lenice, sung beautifully by Queen Pen. All right. So at the end of that song, you heard me say, thank you, God. And during this situation, ordeal, life changing, life moment, I've been saying thank you, God, as well. Ain't nothing changed. All right. So the day of the hospital, right? I'm on my way to surgery, get to the hospital, did everything that I was supposed to do. Got to the hospital, the time supposed to be there. My surgery was supposed to be at 12. Get there 2 hours early. I got there a little before 10. And from the moment I got to that hospital, and shout out to St. Joe's Hospital in Towson, Maryland, the staff was just phenomenal. From the time I was checked in to the amazing woman, from the time I got my vitals, and so on and so on. Doctors, nurses, CNAs, maintenance, everybody was just outstanding. And when you're, dealing with something like this, niceness matters, kindness matters, professionalism matters, compassion matters, seeing about somebody, going above and beyond, all of that matters when you're in the hospital. And that mattered to me, and it didn't go unnoticed. So doing my things, and let me just say, the lady that did my initial vitals getting there, and she just was saying, oh, you got, Dr. Berg, that's my surgeon's name. You got Dr. Berg. Oh my goodness, that's my man. He's a good guy, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't ask no questions. And that was happening often when they looked at my chart. Oh, he does it this way. Oh, he don't play. He likes it this way or likes it that way. Like he got his own team. They come in and do, like I was hearing just all of these amazing things. But you never know what someone is going through. The lady that took my vitals, she said, I have cancer. And I'm doing this, and I forgot what kind of cancer she had, but she was saying, I believe she said lung cancer. Don't hold me to it. But she was working, and she was back to work, and she was doing, doing her thing, and you just never know. And she said that to me, and not even knowing what I was coming there for. So just saying that was just a blessing. And in that hospital, prayers were going over the intercom loud. I was like, yes, this is my kind of place. Because, honey, what kept me alive and what kept me is just prayers. And I'll talk about that at the end. But prayers work. Collective prayers work, y'all, because that, with God and people praying for me and my doctor, that's what kept me alive and purpose, so hearing the prayer over the loudspeaker. And then when I get into, triage, they're like, oh, I like your nails. Oh, I like your scarf. I had this little Victoria's Secret scarf on, but just, just very personable and, and sweet and doing everything right. And then when I get in the hospital, y'all, and I'm in triage, the lights flicker. I'm like, oh, what's going on? Because it was storming really, really badly. And then the lights came right back on, obviously, because it's a hospital, and my surgery was delayed, which I don't mind, because they wanted to make sure everything was up and running, no issues, no problems, none of that. So take all of the time you need, handle that. I'll still be here. I ain't going nowhere. So they did all of that. And then it was, I think my surgery was like maybe an hour, a little over an hour later, which was fine. And it was supposed to be a 3-hour surgery. So everybody, just even the person that came to get me to wheel me into surgery, everybody was amazing. When I got into surgery, it was about 9-10 people in that operating room, and I was like, okay, this is how we doing. Everybody was clean, and everything was clean, and everybody was precise and standing and what they had and what they were going to do. I was like, yes, for all the people who are there to keep me alive and to make this train run smoothly. To me, I was knocked out after a while, but to me, getting wheeled in, it was like, okay, this looks like a well-oiled machine. And I just remember everyone saying, oh yeah, he has his same people that he works with, and they know how he works, and they know, and they're good. And when I went in there, everybody was ready. And then, of course, y'all know, I was praying. I just was praying for healing. Before, when they first gave it to me, I was walking around just saying, I am healed. I was walking around saying, I am healed. I will live, but let me just, before I talk about, what happened in the operating room and then right after. But words are power, and, I'm a life coach and I'm a prayer. So, I was just walking around even before that, like, I am healed, it is removed from my body, I will live. But then you always have that doubt. And what if I don't make it? What if I die? What if I won't be here for my daughter's graduation? What if I won't be here for this? That's that flesh part that keeps talking to you, and you got to silence that. You got to kill that, because if not, that will take over. So I was listening to meditation before I went to sleep, because at night was the worst part. Shout out to everybody who prayed for me. And I don't want to even, on my YouTube channel, I'd go into detail with names and stuff, but I'm not going to do that here. But just people's scriptures, people's prayers, detailed prayers, pray for the surgeons, hands, the nurses, everybody in the office, doctors at the hospital, the personnel, everybody was very detailed in their prayers. And I love that. And I thank everybody. I had thousands literally of people praying for me, people I know and people that I don't know. I had prayer session, a couple of times through Zoom, through social media, through phone calls, through text, just everything, and I appreciate all of that. And I was just speaking positivity, and people were speaking into my life. You're going to be all right, because you got a lot to do. God is, moving still in this, because you'll be able to get the word out, and who you are and what you do. He knew who to give it to. I'm not concerned. I'm not worried. You're going to make it. You're going, all of that. I had nothing but positivities. And in my heart of heart, I knew that I would make it, but I still had, I'm not even going to lie to y'all, I still had that, well, what if? And I had to keep fighting that, to have my faith and knowing God's promise and word over the flesh part, right? So anyway, get wheeled into the hospital room, the surgical room, the OR. And of course, they put it in the veins, the anesthesia. I remember 2 seconds, and then after that, I was out, right? And I woke up. I was like, this don't look like heaven. I guess I'm up. I made it. I was like, I'm alive, and I'm looking around, and then they're saying, you're here, you're in recovery, and they're talking, and I'm looking like, okay. They're like, your husband's in the waiting room. He's going to come back. And meanwhile, he had my phone. So he was, staying in contact with my people, my kids and my, friends and family, and, all of that. And then he could come back. So then he came back. I was like, doggone it, I'm alive. And I just was, thanking God and so happy, that I was alive, and my doctor wasn't concerned, surgeon, about getting everything, and I just was, just praying over that, but alive. So I stay in recovery for a little bit. Then I go up to my, my room, and I'm groggy and everything. And then later on, the surgeon comes up and he's like, we got it all, we got everything, no issues or problems. But I remember people saying beforehand, or the doctor saying, or surgeon beforehand, the pathology report, they have to go in and take the lymph nodes out to test them to make sure there's no cancer there. But to the eye and how he got, all the cancerous part, and then, so my colon back up. But of course, I was stuck everywhere. I had an IV in my right hand, my left arm, my right arm. At one point, I had a needle in my leg. I know I had stents in my kidney or around that area to protect my kidneys when they had to do certain cuts. Then I had a catheter. I was just, I woke up and I had some tape on my forehead because I went to do a video quickly just to thank people for praying for me. And then I looked at it, I was like, is that skin peeling? But it was, so I don't know. I had tape on my forehead. Of course, I don't know what was happening there. I just know I was alive. And when I, finally got my room, they were telling me I was going to get my room, and then went up there. And then I think a couple hours after that, my conception of time. So a couple hours after that, I'm assuming that, the doctor came up and he was like, he got everything. And, everybody was just amazing. My husband was able to be up there, and I was happy about that. So he was telling me about that's when I found out that he had to do the surgery somewhere different, because I thought I was going to have a cut like lower bikini, but it was, I had several, like I have above my belly button, under my belly button, a little bit over my, the cut on my stomach, and then on the right of me. So I thought I had 3, and I found out later when I got home, that's another funny story that I had, because my stomach was so swollen because they had to pump air, in a sense, I guess, to see what they were doing. So eventually, it's going down some still now, but I didn't see the other entryway. I don't care if I had 99, as long as they got in and did what they had to do, and they didn't rip my whole body apart. But if they had to, so be it. But he didn't. He was even careful about that, and really, caring in what he was doing, even when in the surgery, to do what they had to do to get the cancer out and to ultimately save my life. So he started telling me that it was a different type of procedure that he had to do. He had to cut me a different place where he thought that he might before, which was fine. But he was very detailed. He explained everything to me, and that's what I like too. I wasn't just in the dark. Like, he explained everything. Even when I went to his office before the surgery, he was explaining everything with a diagram, what he would do. And that changed a little bit because it was in a different position, but that's okay. When he came back, he re-explained, which was fine. But the staff, everyone was amazing. And, the surgeon came in, he was like, okay, you got to walk 5 times a day. You got to start walking like the next day. I walked at 4 that morning. I was like, I'm doing everything. I'm going to do ahead of it. And my one friend who had breast cancer, she was like, people don't understand that first walk is something. That when you walk for the first time after those surgeries is something. But, you got to take the first step. If they say you got to walk 5 times a day and you can't just lay there, then that's what I'm going to do. Even if it's walking like a mummy, very slowly, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I did. And I was making sure. And then, what I'm not supposed to eat and what I was doing everything right. And he said, even when he came to the bedside, he was like, well, you can't eat this, can't eat that, don't eat more of this. And I was like, that's what I eat. He was like, I know, and I don't understand. He's like, because you're eating everything you're supposed to eat, even before the surgery, and not eat what you're not supposed to eat. And he was like, and you still got this. He was like, it got to be genetic, because you're eating the way you're supposed to eat, and you're staying away from things that you're not supposed to eat. And he was like, and you're healthy. I kept hearing that often from all of my doctors. You're healthy. You don't take any medications. You don't have any ailments. You don't have any disease. You're not borderline this. Like, I was a healthy woman at 49. So he was like, some of this has to be genetic. He said, because what you're doing is not, that shouldn't be an indicator, so I'm going to definitely talk. Let me just finish this part, and then I want to go. There's so much that I want to share with you all. But had the surgery, did what they were supposed to do. Everyone was just amazing to me, to the point where when it's time for me to finally go, they were like, we're going to miss you. I was like, I'm going to miss y'all too. Other people, I wish everybody was on staff, because, through the 4 days I was there, everybody ain't working every day, all day. So you have different people, but everybody was just as amazing as the next, had their own styles, the nurses, the techs, the CNAs, everybody was just amazing, down to dietary. I don't even want to forget about them. They were just the sweetest. But was doing my walking, eating what I was supposed to eat, doing my bowel movements, do everything that I was supposed to do. And the doctor was like, if you wanted to leave a date early, you can, because everything is looking good and you're doing it. And I was like, well, I just started eating solid food, so let me just wait till the day you said, the original day, the next day, just to make sure everything was working properly. Because when they do, if you know anything about the colon, if you don't, look that up. That's your bowel area and all of that. So all of that has to be functioning properly in order for you to leave. And I don't want to get graphic on some other things that happen, but you have to make sure everything, even when they put everything back, everything was how it was supposed to be put back. I had a urologist in the surgery as well, to make sure everything, like I said, was put back. So long story short, short as it can be, but I got out the hospital, and I was there for 4 days, and I FaceTime, a couple people FaceTime me and talk. They were like, "You just look regular. You don't even look like you had cancer, or you're in the hospital right now. Why do you look like this?" Even the nurses were like, "You just look regular." And I was like, I don't know how you're supposed to look. I just look like me. And that, I guess that's definitely by the grace of God, because I was still smiling. I still had the light of God in me, and the light in me and who I am. And I guess I was still working, doing my virtual interviews and doing the things that I do. And, people are like, "What?" So then, they had no clue. And then when I came out I got out the hospital. So let's just say that got out the hospital, because I can't tell y'all every detail. We'd be here all day. We got out the hospital, went home, came home, my recovery is 3 weeks. I'm still in recovery. I believe I'm on day 14 right now of my post-surgery, post-op, but everything is looking great. I had my first follow-up with my surgeon yesterday. My stitches are looking great and all of that. And I'm just on recovery mode and healing road. I went back to doing my More Than Just a Movie, classic black film breakdown that I do with Leroy McKenzie Jr. I did that on YouTube yesterday. And I'm back to you guys know I do, I host a show called Sheen Talk for Sheen Magazine's IG page. I have 2 interviews today. So I'm back on it. I laughed because my husband had to prop me up on my chair, but once he propped me up, I was good for a second. And then when it's time to come down, I'm like, "Oh, let me just take a break." So I'm making sure I'm not doing too much, but I'm making sure that I'm still active and getting back to me and still walking. And instead of walking in the house, I'm walking outside because I love the outside, the weather and the nature and all of that. So I'm doing my thing, and I'm getting better every day. And I just, I have shirts that say #CelebrateLife. That's what I sell on my website. Been doing it for years, but it is I believe that I've always believed in celebrating life, and now more than ever. I got a chance the other day to go to my daughter's college and to take some pictures of her getting her graduation pictures for college taken. So that was one of the things. I got to do her makeup and do her hair. So it's just like, thank you, Lord, I'm alive. I could do these things still. My daughter had been helping me. My husband has been a caregiver. My oldest daughter has been one, through this time. And I'm trying to do more and more for myself. But y'all, I couldn't even barely go to the bath. I couldn't even go to the bathroom by myself. I couldn't get myself in the shower. There's a lot. But I don't complain about none of that. I'm not a complainer anyway, but I'm here. I ain't complaining about nothing. You okay? Nothing. I'm just going to try to do what I have to do, and I'm walking slow. All my old heads know Carol Burnett's show, Mrs. Quiggins. I'm walking like that. My bed is high, so I couldn't even, my husband had to put me in the bed because it's high. I couldn't even get in. And then I realized how low my toilets were because the toilets are higher at the hospital. Then I was like, oh, goodness. So one of my girlfriends bought me something to put on the toilet. So just a lot of different things. And I found comfort, just laying on the couch because it was easier to get. The couch was much lower than my bed. So just finding ways to heal and to be comfortable. My doctor's like, when I first came out the hospital and in the hospital, I had to have a low fiber diet when I started eating, which means not a lot of Ruffords and salads and vegetables and, raw vegetables and fruit that I'm used to eating, because they want to make sure I, don't move too soon because I still have stitches and all of that. So just following, all of those rules and just trying to recuperate. So I got another week, and then he said, exercising and certain things, I still have 12 weeks, to 16 weeks to fully heal with that. So I'm definitely on the road to recovery, and I'm here, and I'm sorry that I was gone so long, but y'all hear all this stuff that's been happening. even beforehand, I was like, okay, let me just, I'm starting new shows, so let me just take a minute off the podcast just for a second. But I thought I was going to come right back, but I didn't, and I wanted to make sure that I came correct. But I have so many just great things coming down the pike. But I just want to first just thank everybody for always rocking with me, always supporting me. I'm going to be back to my regular schedule, talking to y'all once a week. So make sure you subscribe. It'll be, once a week, you will get something either Wednesday or Thursday of each week. You will get, it's usually, but I'll say between Thursdays and Fridays. That's what I've been doing. On Thursdays or Fridays, you'll get a new show each week. And, I'll be back to coaching and talking about the things that I talk about on here, helping you, healing you, growing, all of those good things. And this is just a part of it. So what I just want to tell everybody, that colon cancer is real. You can be extremely healthy and still get it. If it's in your genes, I would suggest, looking into genetic testing. And also a big issue with me is I was turning 50, and you hear that 50 is the year of colonoscopies. So everybody knows that at 50, you have to get your colonoscopy, right? But I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to tell you why for African Americans that's not true. So give me like 2 seconds and I'll be right back. Thank you for shining with me, Kendell Lenice. If you're here for the very first time, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for shining with me, Kendell Lenice. If you're here for the very first time, thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe to the show, and don't forget to tell your friends and family about Shine. We'll be right back. All right. I just had to clear my throat. All right. But for African Americans, it's 45 and over. And they don't tell you that. So it's my mission to get the word out that 45 and over, you need to get colonoscopies. You have to be an advocate for your own health. Even if doctors tell you, and now let me get back to my doctor. Beautiful woman, love her to pieces. She's a Indian woman. I don't know if she's from... She's East Indian woman, right? And I'm not sure if I had a black woman doctor or a black male doctor, would they have told me that for black folks, African Americans, you have to go, as soon as you turn 45 and not wait till 50. But the common age for everybody is 50 and over, get your colonoscopy. But what people don't tell you is that for African Americans, it's 45 and older. And that can be the difference in living or dying. Let's just be honest with you. And I'm just so thankful that I didn't wait until my 50th birthday, because who knows how far the cancer would have gone, how far it would have sped up. I mean, I don't know. I hate to even think about that. I don't know. Or if I waited till after 50, like many of my people do. I know a lot of people to be like, oh, they gave it to me when I was 50. That was last year, or, a year and a half ago, or 6 months ago. I'm going to get around to it. Who knows? What if I would still be here, if I would make it to 50 or beyond? Who knows? That's why it was important to me. But on March 24th, my doctor called me and said all the pathology reports came back. I was supposed to pull 12 lymph nodes. I did 28, and I tested them all, and they're all cancer-free. Come on now. I get cancer and rid cancer all in the same month. And did I tell you March was Colon Cancer Awareness Month? And Women's History Awareness, Women's Month. Like, I'm still speechless and babbled and stuttering behind that, like in March. That's nobody but God. So what that tells me is God wants me here so I can deliver the messages to you and help save lives. So if you're out there and you're 45 and older, male or female, and you're an African American, black person, whatever you call yourself, get your colonoscopy. If you're a person that has the paper and you're just too lazy to make the call, or don't think it's important to make the call, or because nobody in your family has it, or you feel healthy, or you don't have the time, make the time and get it done. And I'm glad to know that a few people have called me and said, you know what, you inspired me to get a colonoscopy. And that's what it's about. The Colon Rectal Alliance reached out to me to do a video for them. I'm so grateful. Any way that I can use my platform to get this out, I'm going to get it out. Even though March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month, it's Colon Cancer Awareness Month for me every single month of the year. And I just discovered that April is Minority Health Month. So this is a great month to do it as well. If you need a month to indicate advocacy over your health, this is a good month. But any time is a good month for you to stay up on your doctor's appointments, do what you're supposed to do, ask questions, question your doctors, be an advocate for yourself. I cannot stress that enough, because it could be a matter of life and death. So please get your colonoscopies. Make that appointment today. Do not wait. Again, I was walking around with cancer in my body and had no clue. And I go to the doctor. But this was my first colonoscopy because I was told to do it. And I thought I was ahead of the curve because I'm still 49. Maybe at 45, so you got to think about that. But not once did I say, why me? Not once did I say, what could I have done differently? Not once did I say, because I did what I had to do. And when I knew better, I'm doing better. And that's getting the word out. But I didn't wait. And if my life can be an indicator of that waiting is not good. I did not wait. Had I waited a year, I'm scared to know what would be the outcome. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to come on here to fill you all in and tell you my new title. Yes, I'm a transformational life coach, a speaker, an author, podcaster, talk show host, blah, 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 blah. But my name is Kendell Lenice, and I am a colon cancer survivor. How about that? And March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month, and the color is blue. So when you wear blue, think of me. I'm still here. Won't he do it? Amen. But thank you all for listening to me tell my story. It's a lot to tell, so I tried to get it in. So if I was speaking fast, stuttering, trying to get it all out, please charge that to my mind and not my heart and not my mouth. But thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. As always, make sure you hit that subscribe button and leave a comment if you want me to talk about anything. If you have any questions or concerns, even with this or any life coaching questions, always email me at Kendell Lenice, KendellLenice @gmail.com. Put in the subject line, shine. All right, y'all. Remember, you are a star, so don't allow anyone to dim your shine. Peace, y'all. God bless.
Shine with Kendell Lenice. Real talk for real people. Let's shine together.